you're shooting politics for caring about the good of the society. So it's always everyone. I live in here now, I'm going to the hospital. I'm going to the hospital now to support people in the hospital.
Peter Obi frowned at Inec during the Presidential Electoral Tribunal. Hello viewers and welcome to InfoGist TV. Peter Obi, one of the presidential candidates in the just concluded presidential election, during an interview said, "The global best practices for electoral umpires in national elections is that an electoral umpire must avoid creating the impression that it has no respect for neutrality in an electoral context between candidates." Section 134. Candidate for an election to the office of the president shall be deemed to have been duly elected where there have been more than 2 candidates for the election. A. He has the highest number of votes cast as the election, and B. He has not less than 1/4 of the votes cast at the election, each of at least 2/3 of all the states in the Federation and Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Peter Obi further encouraged Nigerians to remain calm and steadfast in the journey to reclaiming their mandates of a new Nigeria. He said, "I would never give up on the journey until victory is achieved. We are right on the path and will remain committed to the cause." He said, "I never expected the journey to a new Nigeria to be an easy one. The forces who had over the years lived off the old order are bound to fight back, as is being experienced now. If they come at us through land, air and sea, we will respond to them through land, air and sea. But we will remain law-abiding and will never give up on the nation. We are on the right path and will remain committed to the cause. Never be deterred by the obstacles along the way to victory. I have lived my life in the most law-abiding manner. On regaining our mandates, I am committed to lifting people out of poverty, and I remain committed to transforming Nigeria, starting from the north to every part of the nation." There is a palpable tension in the camp of All Progressive Congress APC presidential and vice presidential candidates Alhaji Bola Mohammed and Tinubu and Senator Kashim Ibrahim Shettima respectively, as evidence shows that Shettima is not qualified to contest the election. This was deduced from the 2 documents submitted by Senator Shettima to the Independent National Electoral Commission (Inec), certified true copies of which were obtained by Mr. Peter Gregory Obi and his party, the Labour Party. The first document, dated July 14, 2022, showed one Ibrahim Kabi Masia, who was originally presented as the running mate to Tinubu, withdrawing his candidacy for Shettima. The document was, however, received and stamped by Inec on July 15, 2022. The second document, dated July 15, 2022, showed Shettima, who was originally the candidate of Borno Central Senatorial District, withdrawing his candidacy for one Lawan Kaka Shehu. It could be recalled that Labour Party Peter Obi had petitioned the Presidential Election Petition Court to disqualify Shettima, as he was at the time of the election not qualified to contest the election. The petitioners averred that on the 14th of July 2022, Shettima, contrary to the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022, while still being a senatorial candidate for Borno Central constituency, knowingly allowed himself to be nominated as the vice presidential candidate to Tinubu on the platform of APC, and became the new candidate for the office of the vice president on that date. The petitioners relied on Form EC11A signed by Shettima and Inec officials on that same 14th of July 2022. We contended that the first respondent was a candidate nominated by the fourth respondent for the office of Senate in the Borno Central Senatorial constituency until 15th July 2022, when he signed the Independent National Electoral Commission senatorial election notice of withdrawal of candidates purporting to withdraw from the contest called from EC11C. The petitioners hereby plead and shall, at the time of the trial, rely on affidavits and personal particulars from EC9 submitted by the third respondent for Borno Central Senatorial Constituency, sworn to on 14 June 2022 and received by the first respondent on June 17, 2022. Affidavits in support or personal particulars from EC9 submitted by the third respondent for the office of the Vice Presidential candidate for the constituency of Nigeria, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, received by the first respondent on 15th July 2022. Notice of withdrawal of candidates pursuant to Section 33 of the Electoral Act 2022 from EC11A dated 14 July 2022, signed by the third respondent as the new candidate, Vice Presidential of the All Progressive Congress, and also containing the passport picture of the third respondent as new candidate. Notice of withdrawal of candidate pursuant to Section 33 of the Electoral Act 2022, Form EC11C dated 15 July, signed by the third respondent as the withdrawing candidate of All Progressive Congress for Borno Central Senatorial Constituency, and also containing the passport pictures of the third respondent. At the time the third respondent purportedly became a vice presidential candidate, he was still the nominated senatorial candidate of the fourth respondent for the senatorial election for Borno Central Senatorial Constituency. The petitioners shall contend at the trial that the purported sponsorship of the second and third respondents by the fourth respondent was rendered invalid by reason of the third respondent knowingly allowing himself to be nominated as the vice presidential candidate, while he was still a senatorial candidate for the Borno Senatorial constituency. The petitioner shall further contend that for this reason the votes purportedly recorded for the second respondent at the contested presidential election were or are wasted votes and ought to be disregarded. No longer APC senatorial candidate for the Borno Central election. According to him, the notice of withdrawal signed by Shettima on July 6, 2022 was conveyed by officials on this July 15, 2022 to Inec to enable APC present him to Inec as its vice presidential candidate. He further claimed that the date on the notice of withdrawal is not the date Shettima withdrew from contesting as a senatorial candidate for the Borno Central senatorial election. Tinubu to Tribunal. Shettima eminently qualifies to contest presidential elections. Tinubu's proposal is, however, considered ridiculous because APC and INEC differed in their position. APC said that Shettima was nominated for vice president on the 14th of July, though INEC did not receive his withdrawal notice immediately. Therefore, they will stick to his withdrawal date as the day he wrote the letter and not the day they received and stamped by INEC on July 15, 2022. INEC, on the other hand, said that Shettima wrote the letter of withdrawal on July 6th, but that he did not receive the letter until July 13th, hence concluded that Shettima withdrew on the 6th. Reacting to the various positions of APC and INEC, a news band analyst who spoke on the condition of anonymity opined that what INEC is saying is that Shettima wrote a letter of withdrawal on July 6th, but the letter didn't get to INEC until July 13th. Therefore, Shettima withdrew on the 6th. Does that sound logical? APC is saying that Shettima was nominated for vice president on the 14th of July, although Inec hadn't received his withdrawal notice yet. Therefore, they will stick to his withdrawal date as the day he wrote the letter and not the day Inec received it. APC further said that the letter was dated July 6th but delivered to Inec on July 5th. Inec said the letter was dated July 6th but received on the 13th. Anyone can write a notice of withdrawal to Inec, but leave it at home for as long as they want. But until the letter is in their hands and stamped as received, Inec can't say they received it earlier or attempt to backdate that withdrawal. The most important thing is both of them should submit their contradictory evidences in court. That's when they all know that the day a letter was received is that day that counts, not the days it took to arrive Abuja from